After weeks of action, it's time for the final of Euro 2024, where England take on Spain in a battle to be crowned the Kings of Europe. I'm Tom Carnduff, joined by Joe Townsend, Jake Osgathorpe and James Cantrill for a This Week's Hacker special for the game. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to ensure that you never miss an episode. And remember to keep it fun, never bet more you can afford. This podcast is 18+. Please gamble responsibly. Just to clarify on the introduction, it's James Jimmy the Punt Cantrill, as he's just wanted me to make clear in the break there. But because of that, he's been demoted in the running order of bringing our bets for this game. You're not going first. You were going to go first, but you've talked your way into the book. Joe, kick us off.
Like a reverse Benjamin White moment, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Why are you calling me Well, it's his name.
No, that is your name.
No,
I
no.
called you by your name and you don't like your name.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Nobody
go by the
ever
name or
calls
the
me
brand?
that. Nobody ever calls me James. You never do that.
I do.
What's your name?
When?
I call you James all the time.
Never.
Jimmy.
I don't know,
Jim
but
Rod?
it just feels
Jim.
anything but
J
James
Bone.
sounds weird.
J
There
Bone
we go.
Jr.
Yes. Sorry, what?
There you go. Right. Now that's clarified, into the actual betting for this game, which is why people are here and not petty arguments about what our names actually are. Joe, kick us off. Where do you want to go?
It's just a respect thing.
Joe Townsend, kick us off. Where were we looking?
Joseph,
Oh, wow.
Townsend to you.
I'm keeping it pretty simple because, for the most part, I'm still recovering from that semi-final, to be honest. The emotions of it. We were just chatting beforehand that I think I'm actually still in shock. Recording this on Thursday morning.
Yeah, you may be listening to this Sunday afternoon or raw, 12 hours later.
I think it's just the succession of moments of drama, like the 91st minute winner, following a penalty shootout win, following the 94th minute overhead kick, which then followed some time travel and a 91st minute extra time winner. It's just a lot to process as an England fan that's kind of got the...
You sound drained.
Yeah.
You sound very drained by
usually
it.
all...
That's just how he always...
It's always like happening to us, not for us. So, yeah, I mean, it's been quite... And then just coming from the depths of it being so bad up to that point, I've never experienced a turnaround in that way. So, I mean, it's going to get bandied around a lot over these next few days about how England have paced their tournament, momentum, have Spain peak too soon, all those kind of things. If you had that was my phone.
Shocked by the sound of a phone.
You know what? I'm gonna sort it now.
Professional nature, yeah.
It adds to the drama of what
You know what I've
actual bet
actually-
is, because
you
we
know what I've actually
really
done?
made this a build-up.
I thought that my phone wasn't on silent, and I've knocked it off silent just before we recorded. So scrambled brain. I think it sets us up for a really, really good contest because England could not be going into the final in a better place. Spain have been, without doubt, the best team throughout the tournament. And I really struggled to see it not being very keenly fought. Both teams really nicely balanced. And what jumps out to me is the fact that it's going to go to extra time. I really thought that the game would... in the semi-final and against the Netherlands, and I mean it was a smidgen away from going to extra time. The same in the quarterfinals, expected that to go to extra time, and it did. I think England's matches are all going to be likely to go that way, and you can get a best price 19-10 on a draw after 90 minutes, 9-5 generally, and you look at the most recent major tournament finals, and 4 of the last 5 World Cup finals have ended as a draw after 90 minutes. And 4 of the last 7 Euros finals have. 2 of the 3 that didn't were 1-0 wins. And it just has that feeling that they might actually match up in a way that England are one of the few teams that will be able to restrict Spain quite a lot. I'm very interested to see how the matchup goes with Rice and Rodri as well, because Rice is one of the few players that seem to be able to give him a bit of a contest when they've come up against each other over the last couple of years, even when he was at West Ham. So that's what I'm going for, draw after 90 minutes.
I mean, we were very, very close to England drawing all of their knockout games, weren't we? Before Ollie Watkins stepped up. What we thinking outright result then? Draw's been brought forward. I'm inclined to agree on the fact that Spain are the best team in the tournament, but England, the vibes are back. And that's basically what England's recent success, can we call it success? Improvement, drastic improvement, has largely been built on good vibes. So it's a nice little matchup, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's the real matchup.
Yeah,
your tactical ones. Good team, good vibes. Make it work.
Exactly. And to some extent, you look at the success of recent tournament winners, Argentina, France, they're all built on not too much tactics. It's just kind of creating some kind of semi-system that players can... Yeah. I was very American.
I've been watching Copper America.
Yeah, American guy in the office.
Been up to 4 a.m. watching the Copper America.
You might be able to apply.
I look drained.
Yeah, USA job's vacant if you fancy it.
Yeah. But yeah, some kind of semi-system where, and then as soon as they get on the ball, it's kind of express itself and they come back into the shell. Deschamps, Scaloni, and I think Southgate is very much like that, where it is just almost like a half tactics almost, just because you don't have enough time between the games to come up with something new to maybe stop the opposition, so you make it as simple as possible. I definitely think the draw's a runner, 100%. The average goals in the Euros finals stretching back to 1992 is 1.75, so it's extremely low. Usually one's enough, and obviously if the goal total's so low, the draw obviously is massively in play. I definitely will be leaning that way in terms of that. And yeah, I don't want to go back to it, but one of my favourite bets is just Spain fouls again. I think the even money at the moment for 13 or more Spain fouls, which it's probably
your best bet for the whole game.
It's getting there, but I think this could be a game that does end up not quite as much chaos as Spain-Germany.
Spoil your own drama.
No.
Good. I was worried.
But it could be quite a foul-laden game. England, the most foul team at the tournament. Spain, the most fouls committed at the tournament. That's on a per-game basis as well. So we could see a little bit of needle, I think.
Well, we really should have brought Jimmy in on the draw, having been
James,
sorry. Yeah. J Bone Jr., Jim Rods the second. The
James to you. Apparently.
Let's go with that. Mr. Punt, you did your Goliath on draws in the round of 16. Was that right? You picked the wrong round to do it. Bit of a tongue twister.
Yep.
But a man that's got an eye for a draw, I think we've got a general
clearly I
opinion
fucking don't have an eye for a draw, because I had loads of money on in the last 16, and then my brother kindly reminded me. He said, "Oh, did you do the draw thing again?" He says, "No, I didn't." He says, "Oh, I think you would have got about 63 to 1 if on the free fold." Oh yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, I forgot to do it.
Well, if you want to take comfort from great insight and future predictability, which is a real winner in our own eyes. But I think 3 verdicts is going to be a very close game. Surely it's got to be. I mean, under 2.5 goals is 1-2 in this game. Close contest.
Yeah, part of me thinks so, but the other part of me thinks absolutely not, because Spain... I think we've been starved of decent football, because the way everyone were going on about that first time of Spain-France was a bit over the top, but Spain created loads.
It's a normal game of football, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was should be the standard, really. It's just been a terrible tournament, but I'm a bit worried because Spain is so fearless. They were creating chances before France scored, they were creating chances after France scored. And my phone's just going off after all.
Your phone's going off as well.
Why is everyone? I don't know what you feel like, Jake, but I feel like I'm being left out of something. I'm not popular enough to get constant texts.
England have made a major tournament final. That's what it is, isn't it?
Do you know what it is? I was supposed to get my tooth put back in today, but I cancelled it because I desperately wanted to be in this show with you.
What's in your mouth now?
That's a temporary fix. I just had a sausage sandwich and it's really hurting, but I'm supposed to be there.
What is it? Just like we'll go back to the game, but I'm fascinated.
Half my front tooth's missing. So
yeah. So what is it? Like a plastic thing?
Yeah,
what is it?
Basic. It feels like Play-Doh, but obviously
you just like pull it out.
Don't do it.
No,
don't do it.
For the love of God.
Full crook. How are you, babe? No, I'm worried about Spain.
Point we're on. Spain, yeah.
I am worried about Spain. They're so fearless. They create so many chances. They're so slick around the box. With how pedestrian we are, I think they could easily make space. And if they do score first and they score early like they did, like happened in the France game. Did they score early against Germany?
No. About 52 minutes, was it?
Oh, 51. Well, yeah. I am worried about Spain's just slick, fearless play. So I don't know. I'm not against the draw, but I can't even commit to it being low scoring, because it's going to be such cat and mouse. And a better team usually brings out better England. Like, how good were we after we went behind? We wouldn't have been that good if we didn't concede. So
I think that is something to just point out, is that England's best performance came against the best team they played this tournament. And I think that's just because they have more space to operate. It's really difficult playing against Slovakia, Slovenia, Serbia that play with a deepish kind of block and try and frustrate. When you've got that space in transition, you've got players like Foden and Bellingham that have the pockets. They can cause problems. So I definitely think that Spain, although they, like James, I just called you James again. Like James said,
during the break, we'll establish what his name is, and then at least we can address some kind of balance for the rest of this episode.
Yeah. Like Jimmy said, Spain's attack is frightening, but I think Spain will be equally as scared of what we can potentially offer if they give us that space.
They will not.
They will.
Yeah. Not scared of anything.
They've watched Bellingham firsthand in La Liga this season. They know exactly what he's capable of doing.
I've watched him in
I'm just not quite sure though about Spain, and this is genuinely not me trying to look at it from an England perspective and being particularly optimistic. But Jimmy made the point there whether we've been starved of decent football during this tournament, and Spain have been held up as being like particularly outstanding because the level of other teams in the tournament has been particularly poor. If you go through Spain's tournament, they've been the best team, yes, but they haven't been like they're nothing like the 2008 to 2012 team.
Oh God, no.
They're not even close. And
anyway.
The wins that they've picked up, Germany, they went 1-0 up. They played well up to that point, and then they retreated. They didn't have another shot until they conceded the equaliser late in the game. They totally retreated. Germany caused them all sorts of problems once they went 1-0 up, and then they fought back, and then they were really good in extra time, and they had to score 119th minute. Not that much different to how England had to get over the line. Then against France, 1-0 down, not great defending it. By just having a simple ball into the box. They needed a goal from 30 yards, probably the goal of the tournament, to get back into it.
16-year-old, by the way. Yeah.
Brilliant goal, individual skill from Olmo to get 2-1 up. Played really well the rest of the first half. Second half, they didn't play really well. France actually created plenty of chances and didn't take them, as poor a team as they've been attacking-wise during the tournament. Spain created very, very little in that game. So it didn't leave me thinking, if England have to play Spain based on that performance, they're not going to be able to beat them. It was the other way, actually. When I was watching, I was thinking, if France managed to scrape through here, I'd think, could France just eke out a 1-0 win against England? Against Spain, I feel like there will be more pockets to expose in terms of defensive weaknesses. And Spain will look at it the same way with England. But I actually think that it makes the draw very possible because they'll be feeling one another out, and it'll be a really good contest. I don't see it being Spain are going to run all over England because they're so much better. I just don't think that's the reality.
Should we commit to it? Let's commit to it then. Joe's pick for the Euro 2024 final then. We kick off our multiple. Draw in 90 minutes. A close game expected. Having settled on his name, and we will go back to Jimmy. And yeah, I'm trying to decide which way we can go around it. We've got draw so far. Jimmy, take us away. Where do you want to go for this game?
Yeah. Tom just started squeaking his eyes in the break between these two sections. We can't. It was awful.
I hated it.
Try and do it in the mic.
I'm not going to do it because if people are really squeaky, because I didn't expect it to get the reaction. I just have quite squeaky eyes when you like press them.
It was like zombie eyes.
So I don't really, in case anyone's
wondering...
squeamish and they just wanted to listen to this football-related betting podcast.
Yeah, but you might be wondering, what are squeaky eyes?
Yeah, you're going to have to do it.
It's squidgy eyes, I suppose, isn't it? I'm not going to do it because of people's reaction and they may hate it. But
I thought one of them was going to come out.
It makes a noise. And I've always done it, and I've never realised that it was a weird thing until now. But there you go.
So loud, I could hear it over here, and we're a good 30, 40 yards apart.
Away from eyes. All eyes on Berlin.
Oh, that's why he's the host.
There you go. Jimmy, where should we go then? We've got draw, obviously, the close game expected. Where do you want to take us?
Yeah, Jake touched on fouls. It's an angle he's been milking all summer. I don't know who he stole it from, but it's earned him a lot of points.
Did I steal it?
Well, yeah, he touched on Spain's averages, and he touched on England's knack of drawing him. In the knockout, Spain conceded 9-17-11. But I was particularly drawn on Tuesday to the sheer amount of defensive work Morata does. It was just so noticeable. He was popping up on the right wing, on the left wing, everywhere, and putting in so much hard work. Although this might come unstuck because he actually got crocked by a security guard at full time, didn't he?
Why? Yeah, when we go to a conversation bit, just have a think of a backup player that you could chuck in here, and we'll just chuck him in case. We'll edit it over Sunday at 7 p.m. if he's not in the team.
No, but that I was watching that and I was thinking, I made a note, Morata fouls in the final. And then I was actually looking at how many attackers commit fouls against England. Switzerland was 3, Slovenia was 3, Netherlands on Wednesday was 5. I think Gakpo conceded 3. So Xavi Simons conceded 2, and then Wout Weghorst come on. He conceded 1 within 20 seconds. Just left one in Stones, on Stones, and Stones was not happy at all. You could see it. He was on the floor. And you could lip read. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" to Weghorst. But he actually conceded 3 in 45 minutes. So whether Morata plays or not, he racks up the fouls. He's odds against to commit 2. 3's a massive price. At 9-2, the card's also 9-2. Got a career cards per 90 of 0.31, but 2 guaranteed starters, Yamal and Nico Williams. Yamal on the right wing, he conceded 2 last game, didn't concede any of the game before, and in the first knockout against Georgia, he conceded 3. And I think he's 10-1 to do the same, which is massive prices.
Remember Yamal's second foul in the semi was it Theo Hernandez who was running through? And he just
he basically just grabbed him, didn't he? It was
absolutely sensational, wasn't it?
For 16, talk all your football ability that you want. He's also got the shithouse element of knowing when to commit a foul.
Both arms round him.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
A lot of that in the knockouts, and Danny Carvajal did it in the quarters. It's just beautiful to see, isn't it?
Saka did it last
game back
on Wednesday, didn't he?
Yeah.
Saka did it. For
Genius.
It. Really, really nice. Yeah. So, I was thinking Spain attackers fouls. England draw a heck of a lot, and these front 3, the wingers and Morata commit a surprising amount.
So we're saying Morata's probably the main player to target if he's starting and he's not been crocked by a member of security stopping a pitch invader.
We have the security over fouls.
I'll have a look. I'll tell you what.
Price
While
up.
you talk amongst yourselves, I'll message a few firms to get that one priced up.
Tell you what, it was
2.5 pitch
It was
invaders.
a terrible few hours for the photography industry, wasn't it? Because they were copping all the abuse for it for a little while.
Yeah.
Photographer,
Because they saw on TV, didn't they? They went, it looks as if a photographer has taken him out.
All
a
the
photographer with no camera,
and
no vest that says photographer.
Twitter were fuming. They're like, "Oh, these snappers! It's a disgrace getting that close, trying to get all the
snappers,
as they're always referred to. Those darn snappers.
Down with the kids.
paparazzi."
The
Paparazzi, yes.
snappers.
Yeah, it was pretty bad few moments for them, but it turned out that it was a security guard. Even worse.
Should we, for the purposes of our multiple, should we settle on Yamal to commit 2+? Feels a nice amount, right? If Morata, because we know he's going to definitely start, right?
Yeah, but what if the game goes on beyond 11 o'clock? He'll have to.
But he would have played most. He would have played most of the 90 minutes by then, wouldn't he? So it doesn't matter.
I'm just joshing. I want.
What you like?
You'll get used to us. I want Yamal 2 fouls, but I've also done a few combos. If you have a multi commit 2, you can get it 18-1 on Paddy Power. We've got that lovely super sub incentive as well.
That is good for this kind of bet, innit?
Talking about Yamal's curfew, it might come into use. And then 3+ is just under 179-1. 3+ each.
Wow.
Just need 9 fouls spread across 3 players evenly inside 90 minutes in a really cagey game.
I'm glad Lamine Yamal's been brought up because I wanted to ask you about this. He is 1-5, as you'd expect, to win the best young player of the tournament. He is 7-4 favourite to win the best player of the tournament. Does he actually win both, or is this just? He's not. He's been really. Obviously, 60. He's been unbelievable. 17 when the final comes, but he's been so good. Is he double award winner worthy of doing it? It just feels to me that the market is reacting to both possibilities.
There is no way that he should be winning best player of the tournament.
It's
absolutely
1-5.
No, he should be winning.
Who should?
He should be winning young player of the tournament.
But who's wins player of the tournament?
100%.
Rodri.
Yeah, and Rodri should be winning best player of the tournament.
Or Fabian Ruiz. I think either of those two. Cause
Rodri's the more glamorous technical committee pick, isn't he, on this one? I mean, best young player 1-5. He's 16 years old throughout the tournament, 17 when he gets the award.
Well, he's 16 until he's 17.
That's how it works. Okay, that's how it works. That would be like after the I won't say uproar because it doesn't matter, but people were kind of questioning sometimes the category to win best young player. They've got a 16-year-old sensation there. They can go, here's what the award is for. Half makes a point by giving it to him as well over actual player of the tournament.
I'm willing to allow him to win best player of the tournament if Kobbie Mainoo wins young player of the tournament. That's the only allowance
Your
that I'm
bankroll,
willing
yeah.
to make, yeah. I just want to make this clear. This is purely from a vested interest perspective. I'm not saying that Yamal doesn't deserve to win best player of the tournament, but having backed him to win young player of the tournament, if he wins best player, I will be devastated, both financially and just
Emotionally.
probably quit right there and then.
Right, this is quite severe.
But yeah.
On that happy note,
Lamar.
quick word on that best player of the tournament then, because before we move on, because it does feel like some people will be looking at this. I think people back Messi was at the World Cup in the week leading up to the final because the narrative was there. We've lost kind of the Toni Kroos narrative that we might have got if Germany were there. Who's jumping out then in this? Because Rodri was 40s, he's still 3s. If you're thinking Spain are going to win the final, surely that's a bigger route into it than the 4-6 on them winning it, right? I know there's more factors, of course, but we said it there. It seems to be our opinion that if they win, then Rodri's absolutely nailed on to win player of the tournament.
Yeah.
Is he?
That's the opinion on the desks, Jimmy.
He fits the mould, doesn't he? Like of a midfielder, all action, kind of
Runs
controls
the
the game.
show,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
I think so, yeah. What price is Jude Bellingham start of interest?
Bellingham's 8, but I'm only looking at 1, so
He's got the
Not much
narrative
to
of having an unbelievable season for Madrid, winning the Champions League, scoring crucial goals, winning the Liga, scoring a crucial goal, a couple of crucial goals for England, and if he wins the Euros, then
Bellingham's the best price of 10s. It kind of depends, doesn't it? Because you can't have Bellingham. It would have to be Bellingham gets player, Lamar gets young player, because you can't have him getting best player and the player older than him getting the young player, because people go, what's the point in that? 10-1
Bellingham's
best price for Bellingham.
the bet for 100% because Bellingham was 10-1 pre-tournament and England are in the final now and he scored an overhead kick to keep him in the tournament. Like, that is a huge price. That is enormous because if England win, then there is every chance that Bellingham wins. But if Bellingham puts in the kind of performance that you kind of expect him to do because of the player that he is, he scores, England win, Bellingham wins player of the tournament, and for him to be getting offered at the same price now as he was pre-tournament makes no sense. Rodri is 3-1
from 40s.
He was 40s and then cut to 33s before the off. Nobody else in that list is an actual value selection. The Spanish ones I think is tricky because so many of them have had wonderful tournaments. Fabian Ruiz, Dani Olmo, Rodri, Yamal. That if one of them scores a couple or is outstanding, wins man of the match in the final, that actually might tip the scales in their favour to win. Whereas for England, probably only Saka.
Yeah. But I'm glad you said this because Bukayo Saka, 2 firms still have him at 25-1, generally 16 everywhere. Again, it's all narrative based, of course, but Saka, to a point where England changed their system, but were adamant, and everyone's going, he's going to the left side, he's going to have to play left wing back. Essentially, Gareth Southgate considers him England's best player. He builds his system around Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka's come up big for England already, and then scored his penalty in the shootout, which, of course, after what happened 3 years ago, which is people desperately wanted him to do, if he has a good performance in the final and England win, surely the standout candidate for England is not Bellingham, despite the hype and the kind of maybe some narrative that comes with it. It's Bukayo Saka. And yet the market doesn't seem to think so because that, 25s if you can get on it, but 16s everywhere, that's surely the eye-catching one of the market because if England win, he's got to be a contender, a front runner for it because Kane's not had the tournament we all expected.
It's really interesting in the final, I think, because Lamar on the opposite side does a lot of defensive work, but Nico Williams does fuck all. He's lowest tackles per game. You look at his heat map, and it's so... we can put it on the video. It's so much further forward than Yamal's on the opposite flank. So Kyle Walker and Saka are going to be doubling up on Cucurella. Saka had a goal disallowed on Wednesday. Scored a worldie the game before. He's going to have an impact on this game, I think. So it just back straight into your point.
So on Saka, I think if these disallowed goal the other night, would have stood, he would have been way shorter than this.
It'd be Bellingham. It'd be Bellingham price, wouldn't it?
Back-to-back match
Yeah.
winners.
He'd probably be England's favourite to win the market, wouldn't he? Because the narrative was, of course, there on that.
Rather than backing him at 16-25 to win player of the tournament, where obviously you've got Rodri, all those competition, why not back him at 10-1 to be man of the match if you think he's going to? Because he's going to have to have a good final.
Because I'm greedy. I want more.
If he's going to win player of the tournament, he's going to have to have a standout performance in the final, which means he probably will have to win man of the match, right? So you're getting 10-1 for man of the match, and then Jude Bellingham might still win player of the tournament if he scores, So that might be a different avenue to get on Saka.
Very keen to obviously move on to get our multiple for the game, but that's a good shout, to be fair. There's options there, isn't there? The actual pick that this section was all about, that we tailed off into player of the tournament talk and stuff like that, going alongside Joe's pick for the game to be a draw after 90 minutes. Jimmy, few selections there. The general consensus is Spain attackers, and we'll settle on Lamine Yamal to commit 2 or more fouls in the game. I'm only pricing it with one bookmaker because I can't be bothered to price it up everywhere. Around 6-1, 7-1, depending where you go at the moment.
Big lazy get duff, man.
We've got the match result in focus. We've got fouls in focus as well. Jake, you can have your section now. Are we going on a similar theme or are we going elsewhere?
We're going to go elsewhere. We're going to go to shots. I'm a little bit disappointed because before we came down to record, Kobbie Mainoo was even money for just a one shot in the game. Didn't have to be even on target. It's now been smashed into 4-7.
Even money? Where was it even money?
Sky. Yeah, and they've pummeled it into 4-7. Which
should have come down earlier.
So,
Did you back it?
No, I didn't get on.
Putting £4,000 on this.
If I put $4,000 on, I would fully expect it to be a 1-4 shot. But but I still think it's worth throwing in at 4-7 because his last 3 starts, he's delivered 5 shots and had 1 in each. We saw it against the Dutch, got into good forward areas, pulls the trigger. I think his shot was blocked again in that game. And I think the way in which Spain are going to play, England are going to find some space and have some joy. So I'll throw that into the bet builder. But I did just want to discuss a bit of a long shot that I think could be worthwhile potentially backing. It's 25-1. Sky Bet, I think, are the only firm that price it at the minute. It's Fabian Ruiz to score from outside the area. So we know Pickford's arguably England's best ever goalkeeper, but if he has one weakness, it is shots from long range. We've seen it in major tournaments, the last 3 major tournaments now. He's been caught out with strikes from distance. He's been done twice so far this tournament. Humland from Denmark, and obviously Simons last night. In the World Cup, it was Chimeni, and the Euros before that, Damsgaard scored from about 30 yards. I think that was a free kick in the semi-final. So in total, across the last 3 major tournaments, he's conceded four goals from 23 shots on target outside the box. So basically, he concedes a goal from an on-target shot from outside the box around 17% of the time, which is, I would say, is pretty high. I think Fabian Ruiz is a player that, you look at his shot map, I think half his shots have come from outside the area. I think England do set a good low block and do frustrate teams and do make them shoot from distance. I think 25-1 from him to score from outside the box is probably just worth a small bet, maybe £5, something like that, something to cheer on. Because if Pickford does have one weakness to its game, it is those shots from distance.
You can get Ruiz to have 2 or more shots at evens. That catch your eye if you kind of obviously talk about the Mainoo price being shortened in.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. I mean, if you wanted something else, I can go back to the fouls. And we don't know if Trippier's going to play. But I think he'll start again. I think he'll do similar with Trippier and Shaw in the sense of Shaw's not fit enough to play 90. He's definitely not fit enough to play 120. So it might be we see Trippier from the start. And his price, going off what Jim's saying about Yamal, Morata, his price just to win a foul is actually really big. It's 5-4 best price.
I've noticed this Trippier throughout the tournament has been a big price for this, and I think it's probably not been your natural bombing it down.
No, exactly. And because of the way in which Spain press, there's every chance that he could just be facing the wrong way, gets his body between the ball and the attacker, falls over, wins a foul. 5-4 for one foul against a high pressing Spanish team. There's another potential to throw in. All
great points, but in the corner of my eye, I've had, as we have to refer to him, Jimmy, smirking about something. James, what's going on?
I was just enjoying Jake's explanation then.
You sure?
I was.
Right, there was just smirking. I was like, has he got something that can debunk this? Has he got...
No.
Price is stupid. This will never happen.
You've gone red here. You're wriggling in your seat.
So
when he was talking...
I thought you'd have some...
I was just enjoying it. I was just enjoying it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the bit when I was thinking, God, I wish you'd give me a scenario about how Trippier could win a foul, and then he went, you never know. He could turn his back on someone and they could bundle him over from behind. I thought,
there's a scenario. What more do you want? I think of that Kobe Minu, back to the original point, for the multiple, still back him to have a shot, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thoughts then? Minu, I mean...
I like the Trippier
Are we going
selection,
back
but
to
I think
young player of the tournament?
you got
Sean,
you got to wait for team news for Trippier, because it's the only potential change that England might make when he's been taken off after 45 minutes. So
what is
you probably can't be tying that up in a bet builder.
What is Shaw's price in the market?
He was a bit shorter. I think he draws more fouls than Trippier generally, which is why he's a bit shorter. But
on this though, there's no way he can't not start Luke Shaw. Surely, is there?
I think
this is the time to roll the dice.
There's got to be a
surely,
point, isn't it, where
this is it.
He has to kind of, because if he doesn't start and England don't win, there's going to be the questions of why did you only take one left back who wasn't fit, and you haven't started him in any games, and it's clearly been a weak.
I don't think he cares about that though. It's in the semi-final. Then I think they set up like they did because they had it in their mind that this game's going to be potentially cagey for the first hour, and what do we want? Luke Shaw coming off the bench to give us impetus like in the round before.
it worked the exact opposite way, didn't it?
We want to put Trippier on. So then it got to 45 minutes and they're like, oh, actually the game has already opened up more than we expected. Let's get Shaw on a bit earlier. So by starting him, then they risk the potential for, well, not much has happened in the game. We get 65 minutes. That's as much as he can play. And then when you really want him to open the game up, you take him off. So I think that it'll purely be decided on that basis how much they feel he can play, because it's just too much of from a betting perspective, too much of an unknown before the team news.
I want to pick up quickly on that point actually, because I did want to discuss this. You said about Southgate wouldn't really care what people kind of say or think. Whatever happens Sunday, do we think it's his last game as England manager?
Oh, no. If he wins it, he'll have another shot at the World Cup, won't he?
I think, 100%.
Is it tough, though, that he's done it for 8 years now? It's a hell of a draining job, surely, being the England manager.
Yeah.
You leave on a high. You finally delivered that major trophy. You lose and you go, we've had a really good go at it. You know, World Cup semi-final, 2 Euros finals. I'm done now. I've had a go. I'm going to let someone else go. Surely the narrative is whatever happens, he just steps down and goes,
well, you'd think
I'm going to leave on the high. But, like you say there, then there's if we won Euros, we could win the World Cup here, and I could take us to the World Cup.
And the squad that he's got, why would you want to leave at this moment in time? It's the best group of England players that he's worked with, full stop. It's the best group I've ever seen in my lifetime in terms of the togetherness of the team, the skill sets that we've got. Like it would seem a bit daft for him to walk away having picked up that crock of shit from 2016, and taking that average team to 2018, and then he gets this unbelievably talented squad with players off the bench that like Cole Palmer, Ollie Watkins are going to be around for a little bit longer, to just walk away and let someone else have a go.
It was the talk before the tournament, wasn't it? And it was the talk in the 93rd minute against Slovakia. If that's it, he's done now. It's going to be, it's going to be over. And it seemed to be whatever happened, he stepped down.
I'd be staggered if he didn't leave at the end of the tournament. I think he's already decided that he's gonna leave by the talk early in the tournament.
It just seemed, or whatever happened, it was going to lead to this, didn't it? It just felt like that, whatever. And it's just an expectation that it was going to happen.
He said, I don't know if it was during the group stages or before the game against Slovakia, that he never wanted to get to a point where him being manager could lead to it being a negative impact on the players themselves, and it definitely got to that point in this tournament. It never has been before, and only because Jude Bellingham scored an overhead kick have they managed to come out of it, and he's not blind to that. All the abuse that he took after the game before against Slovenia.
Tom was there for him.
Definitely.
After we beat Serbia from the top tier of the stadium.
Yeah. I think he'll go. And in terms of like all the players that they've got and all the potential, I think he's taken them as far as he can within the limitations that he is, which is a brilliant man manager, brilliant preparation, but he hasn't coached the team to like create chances and be really effective. Like you look at the Spain team and how that's been turned around in 2 years by a new manager. They don't have better players than England, so I think he will step down and somebody else will come in.
No, what's the assistant called? Because all the players come.
Holland. He was the Dutch one in the setup, wasn't he?
Yeah, because they always come back for international
Gone over his
duty.
head, completely gone over his head.
Holland, Netherlands.
But they always say
Hasselbank. Carry on.
the assistant manager. They all say he does all the coaching. He's on a different stratosphere. He's one of the best coaches. All the players say that he's one of the best coaches they ever worked with. And I don't
White
think
doesn't, mate.
Hey? What?
Ben White doesn't say that.
Allegedly.
Fuck Ben White. Benjamin, sorry. God, he's right sensitive about what people call him.
Jeez, you
Oh yeah, all right, Jimmy. James.
Not this podcast, will you? Jesus.
That was that reaction from Hasselbank to the second goal. I don't know if anyone's seen it on social. It's brilliant. He gets carried away and then realises, oh shit, I'm Dutch. I probably shouldn't be celebrating like this. But yeah, it's going to be whatever happens on Sundays. That's going to be one of the main headlines, isn't it? Does he or doesn't he? I mean, if he wins it, I really hope he stays on and takes this group to the World Cup.
We'll see. We'll see. One of the players that he's brought in there, Kobe Mainu, and in our multiple for the game, we're taking him to have a shot in the game, joining Lamine Yamal to commit 2+ fouls and the 90-minute result to be a draw.
One minute you're king of the world, and the next you're face down in the dirt.
Final pick then of our multiple, and I've saved the best till last because it's mine.
Go on, Tom. What is
obviously.
it?
It's a big price for a single, around 9-4, 5-2, depending where you go. And I'm going to chuck in our brave boy at the back, Jonathan Johnny Stones, to have a shot in the game. Just one shot, doesn't have to be on target. He's always a big price for a shot on target, as you'd expect. I think he was about 9-1 against Slovakia, maybe in the round of 16. Obviously, that price is carried on. He did have a shot on target in that game. But the one thing that's kind of, with us talking about a close game, expected it, and kind of, foul count going up, scrappy, stuff like that. I think the one weak point for Spain probably is defending set pieces. They've barely been troubled by corners in terms of the amount they've conceded all tournament. 18 corners they've conceded all tournament.
Mad, isn't it?
And yet, 6 shots directly from as a result of corners. 1 in every 3 corners they are conceding at the tournament has led to a shot. You then look further into those games. 2 shots from 2 corners against Italy. 2 from 5 against Germany. 2 from 6 against France. So when they're playing your bigger, better nations, the chances come in. Tchouaméni for France had a really good opportunity, didn't he? Central.
Saliba had one as well,
get
didn't
it.
he?
There's good chances that they've had in those games that they couldn't quite capitalise on. And it all depends on game state, right? England concede first a lot in this tournament. It's been a problem. They could be chasing the game at points. And yes, they haven't been prolific corner takers, but I believe the market, and this market, is largely dictated to by game state alongside your style of play. And for me, it just feels like if this is going to be a close game, England, who in 2018 were the kings of doing this, under Southgate, they have known this is a strength of theirs before, that Stones typically stays central on the corners. He floats around that anywhere in between the penalty spot, the middle of the edge of the 6-yard box. So he's kind of in that right spot for direct headers, second balls and stuff like that. This could be a route to success for England. I mean, he's 28-1. 28-1 to score any time if you wanted something bigger, but I'm more than happy to take that 9-4, 5-2 for Stones to have just 1 or more shots in the game. This could be the way in for England. And I'm hoping Jimmy, as a set-piece lover, will be all on board with this pick.
Yeah, I remember when England were good at attacking set pieces, but I don't remember seeing any of it this summer.
Well, we had a big fat head, didn't we? Bam, there we go. But then again, though, this is the kind of, England haven't taken a great deal of corners, really.
Yeah, so that's a red flag, isn't it?
No, because you can't. If you're using averages on corners, you're an idiot.
Oh,
Put it simple.
why do I feel offended?
Only messing. But no, it's game state of a case of that if England are trailing, and England weren't trailing for kind of long enough, really, last time out to get it as a problem. But Spain have, if you're that concerned, Spain conceded corners 5 against Germany, 6 against France was it as well. Just feel like if the game does open up a little bit as well, then there's opportunities there as well, particularly if Shaw's involved, your more natural fullback on that side, overlapping Walker and Saka that we spoke about already. should have some. I'm not saying they're going to hit double figures on it, but it just feels the game state favours it. And if they do, of course, don't rule out free kicks as well. That's a set piece.
I'm going to just say, what about free kicks?
Don't worry, I've thought about the free kicks. It's fine. But there's something there. There is something there. And if he scuffs a header wide, that's fine. Tick the box. Don't have to worry about it.
Hell yeah. And that was the one positive Roy Keane said tongue-in-cheek against Slovakia, weren't it? He was like, set-piece delivery's been good. So,
got players on there who
Cheers,
can
Roy.
deliver it, can't you?
Yeah, France's goal came from a cross into the box. It weren't a set-piece, were it? Germany's deep cross, Kimmich headed it back to Wirtz, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I've run out of... and then...
We spoke about there, France came close a couple of times in that game.
Yeah.
Germany being the most
Yeah,
obvious one, you know,
And-
8 yards out or whatever it was, and he's not quite got good enough contact on it.
Bacano had one that it came off his shoulder, and just
Yep.
before that, I was saying to you upstairs, Jesus Navas had to defend at this back post, and Bacano didn't even go for the ball. But just saying, like, opportunities that won't show up on a stats
That's modern football for you. Nobody knows how to head the ball, but we've got a
Thanks,
brave boy in the
woke.
back here. The Barnsley Beckenbauer is there, and he knows how to head a football, and he will. I'm determined that he will. But it feels like that's a big price.
Yeah.
Suddenly, then you're getting up to a big old price on a multiple.
You know what I've just thought then? We both like Spain fouls as well. So there's going to be plenty of free kick opportunities. How many free kicks did Dembele fuck up France the other day? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was only the other day, yeah.
He just kept over-hitting him. He had like 4 in quick succession, and he only got 1 on the money. But I back Foden 10 times out of 10 to put it on the money from a dead ball.
Stones feels like a headline make winner, doesn't he? You know, someone unusual
Imagine the
scores.
commentary, yeah.
Bullet header 91st minute to win the whole thing, and we're all celebrating.
Well, no, we won't be celebrating because we're back to the draw.
91st minute equaliser, we're all celebrating. Scores the winner in extra time. There you go. We're all happy.
One plus shot from Stones sounds good. Similar to Tom, then I was trawling through having settled on the draw as kind of a fairly dullish, shorter priced selection. Looking at the really big priced goal scorers, and just thinking about the amount of times yesterday that Kyle Walker got into really, really advanced positions, which I'm not really that used to seeing him do for England. Even when he's played at fullback, it's often been because of his recovery pace. They use him there to cover off the player playing on the left-hand side of the attack. And he's 50-1 to score any time, which
That's
I mean,
silly, isn't it?
it's a massive, massive price. It's
An outfield player in a game.
Where's he
crazy.
to score first if he's 50 any time?
Probably not much bigger, actually.
I think they'll probably play it safe.
Firms have been really stingy during this tournament for huge priced anytime goal scorers.
Blow up.
And to be honest, it's quite fair. He doesn't score very many times. Only scored once for England in being his
100 to 1.
90th cap at the weekend. But to score or assist, he's 14-1. He did assist for the Saka goal that was disallowed by the barest of margins, and I don't see him playing any less of an advanced role, because the way that England were able to shift around midfielders to cover space, it did work much better. That's why they looked a lot better. So that right-hand side, Saka, Foden, Walker, all interchange, and it's where all the threat came. So I don't think they're going to want to give that up. So I just would be considering getting Walker on side in an attacking perspective.
I was literally looking at the same when I was thinking about the opposite of what Nico Williams offers. But a major turn off for me was, guess how many shots Walker's had this summer?
0.
Zilch Rooney.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking
5
more
touches
the
in up box. So
more the assist line. So I can't see assists that are generally priced, across all bookmakers at the moment, just because we're fairly early in the market. But there are to score or assist markets at 14-1. So I imagine just to assist, once everybody's priced them up, is going to be a really big price.
66 is to score from outside the area. He's not screamed, just gets annoyed, frustrated. England are 1-0 down late on, and he's the type who goes, I'm just going to hit this, and it just sails through a crowd of players and in.
Imagine he
Across the
scores
surface into the bottom corner.
from just inside the box, like
I'll be very, very
half
low.
a yard.
Yeah, I'll be very, very
gone for
low.
the 66 instead of the 50-1.
Yeah, because I'm greedy. I think we're pretty settled then on this fourfold for the final. I'll say the selections. I'll do the price at the end for some kind of dramatic reveal, although I've kind of told you what it is already, and I know you're looking. We've got then 90-minute result to be a draw, We've got Lamine Yamal to commit 2 or more fouls. We've got Kobe Mainu to commit to take 1 or more shots, and we've got John Stones 1+ total shots as well. Depending where you go, that's around 40-1. That's a nice old bet builder bet, depending what you want to call it.
40-1.
Around that, yes.
Where's that?
Sky Bet,
Shit.
Bet MGM, and a few others.
Shit.
Yeah, you
Who
don't
have
want to do it.
Don't want to
buildable
Paddy then, do you?
functionality. I think Stone's price is a lot shorter there.
Yeah, it's 5 to
That'd
6.
be why.
Yeah.
Chris Rock will be all over that, won't he?
Yeah. Summer of the European Championship.
Oh my God. No, I can't get into
Yeah, let's move on. Let's get out of here. There are our four selections.
Let's hear him out.
If you're having a bet, of course, on that or anything, remember to keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford. And please gamble responsibly. Make sure you get in touch with us on social media. Search Sport and Life Football. You'll be able to find us that way. Or, of course, in the YouTube comments as well. Let us know what you're backing, what you think of our selections. And if you haven't already, please follow and rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or your chosen podcast provider. Enjoy the final, and we'll be back probably in a couple of weeks, right? The season nearly starts.
Season's starting soon,
Football, as Mitchell and Webb famously said, is going on forever.